Say game one is tomorrow or even in future, game one coming up against Tampa Bay Lightning. Who should start in between the pipes for the Maple Leafs? Is it Ilya Samsonov or is it Matt Murray? Who would you take?
Well, if they started tomorrow, you would take Ilya Samsonov. He's hot. His last few games have been good. Murray's come off a loss, the one game he's played since he's been hurt, but that's not the case. So realistically, the whole year I've been saying you go with the hot hand, you go with the hot hand. And, playoffs aren't tomorrow. They're, in several weeks. So I think if it's a complete 100% tie and there's nothing standing out about either of them, I think you're going to go with experience with Matt Murray, assuming that, that's not tomorrow. I want him to play some games, get some wins, show some of the stuff that Sammy's been showing, just like they were earlier in the season. They were both hot. They both have 9-something save percentages, below 3 goals against by far. I think if all things being kind of the same and they're both playing good, you might go with that experience level. But that's not the case right now. I think there's going to be some case for that. But if it was tomorrow, you'd go with Sammy. But I don't think you leave Murray off the table at this point.
Not to be a cop-out answer, in long, I say who cares? Let me spin it this way for you, Rosie. What are the chances both goaltenders play in that series against Tampa? I think it's really high.
I think it's really high too. I don't like, especially with Keefe coaching this team, they do not mind mixing things up. They are not, some coaches are like obsessed with not touching the lineup no matter what. It's almost like a what do you call it? Superstition, where you can't touch the lineup. And I've played for guys like that where that you aren't leaving the lineup or nothing's changing or so-and-so's not coming back in. No matter what happened in the game, no matter who was terrible and who was good or he will not touch the lineup if you win. And I do not think Keefe's like that at all. So if one guy has a bad game and is looking rough, you could go to the next guy, and I don't think it's going to tear the other one's confidence apart. You switch hit these guys like you have the whole year.
For the record, I would go with Ilya Samsonov as well. I mean, it's one of those questions. Either guy I think is going to be a good option long term. Again, I think both guys will play at least, one period, we'll say, in the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's just the way things trend. Like, it's not Vasilevsky, where, every minute of the series it's likely to be him. I think, in fact, we're going to see both goaltenders. But I would give the edge right now, as we have this conversation, to Ilya Samsonov. Longer sample size. He's been healthier for longer. He's been a great story. And quite frankly, the big E word, I think he's earned the game one start, Rosie.
Yeah, that's hard to argue with right now. I mean, no one knows what's going down the stretch, what's going to happen to finish the season. That's kind of my point. But yeah, he looked fantastic his last game. He's looked fantastic in a whole bunch of games. His numbers are great, and he has been a great goalie for the Toronto Maple Leafs. There's just no way to split that up and make that untrue. That's what it is. He's been a great goalie for them almost the entire year. Barely has taken games off.